beautiful. That was beautiful. The Nigerian Navy music team always delivering all the time. I mean, Thelma, you saw them dancing her ass out. That's what we do. If you're just joining us, it is your favorite Weekend Show Weekend Deal coming to you live from the network service of the NTA. Today, as a show, our topic is Guardians of the Nation. We are stopping to salute the men and women of the Nigerian Armed Forces. As we begin this conversation, it is important that we look back. How did the Nigerian Armed Forces come into existence? And what was their role in the formation of the Nigerian nation? To answer this question and more is our backgrounder that I love to call our conversation starter. And it is by Francis Ogbe.
The story of the Nigerian Armed Forces is inseparable from the story of the Nigerian state itself. Its origin dates back to the late 19th century, when British colonial authorities established armed constabularies, primarily to protect imperial economic interests and maintain order in conquered territories. These early forces were not designed for national defense, but for colonial control. The most significant precursor was the Royal West African Frontier Force, established in 1897, which brought together military units from British West African territories, Nigeria, Ghana, Sierra Leone, and Gambia. With the march towards independence, the need for a truly national military became inevitable. The dismantling of the Royal West African Frontier Force structure marked a symbolic and practical shift from imperial instrument to sovereign force. The Nigerian Army emerged directly from the Nigerian component of the Royal West African Frontier Force. Upon independence in 1960, it was transformed into a national institution under Nigerian political authority. The Nigerian Navy, established in 1956 as the Nigerian Naval Service, evolved from Marine Department and Colonial Maritime Security Units. Its primary task became the protection of Nigeria's territorial waters and maritime interests.
Quick, march!
The Nigerian Air Force, established in 1964, represented a forward-looking recognition that modern defense required air power. It marked Nigeria's transition into a fully integrated, multidimensional military force. Together, these services formed the Nigerian Armed Forces, unified under a single command structure, guided by national rather than colonial priorities. The 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria clearly defines the role of the armed forces: to defend Nigeria from external aggression, to maintain its territorial integrity and secure its borders, to suppress insurrection and act in aid of civil authorities when called upon. This constitutional mandate places the military firmly within a republican framework.
Yes, soldiers of bread! Ready for taking over, sir!
Beyond the Civil War, the armed forces have been repeatedly called upon to manage internal security challenges, peacekeeping operations within and outside Nigeria, and stability missions across Africa. The motto, "Victory is from God alone," is more than a ceremonial inscription. It is a profound statement of belief that shapes the Nigerian soldier's worldview. This spiritual anchoring reinforces the idea that military service is not just a profession, but a calling. The Nigerian Armed Forces have traveled a long road. Their evolution mirrors Nigeria's own journey, complex, imperfect, yet resilient. Therefore, To celebrate the guardians of the nation is to honor men and women who stand at the intersection of history, duty, and destiny, bearing arms not for conquest, but for the preservation of unity, sovereignty, and peace, always mindful that victory indeed is from God alone.
Very detailed, very in-depth, talking about our armed forces, the guardians of the nation. They make us proud because they make us boast that we are Nigerians. We are safe, we are cool because of the Nigerian armed forces. What an amazing day to celebrate with them. And good thing you are a part of the show. Send in your messages, great experiences. Let's continue to cheer these great men and women, patriots themselves, as we celebrate them in a special way today. Our next package is coming from NTA Maiduguri. You don't want to miss this. It's focused on counter-insurgency and internal security. When it comes to that, Nigerian Armed Forces, #1 on the continent.
In the heart of Nigeria's northeast, where fear once silenced communities and daily life stood still, hope is steadily returning. From the outskirts of Maiduguri to previously unreachable local government areas, the sound of gunfire has gradually given way to the rhythm of normal life. This is the story of the courage and resilience of Nigeria's armed forces and of the civilians whose lives and communities were rebuilt. At the peak of the conflict, several communities were overrun, local government administrations collapsed, schools were closed down. Thousands of families were displaced as Boko Haram and allied groups unleashed violence and fear. Through sustained counterinsurgency and internal security operations, the Nigerian armed forces steadily pushed back the terrorists, town after town, village after village. Areas previously under insurgent control were liberated, restoring Nigeria's territorial integrity and national pride. Liberation went beyond the recovery of territory. It marked the return of civil authority. Local government councils resumed operations. Teachers returned to classrooms. Health facilities were reopened. Gradually, normal life began to return. Hawa Bukar Maina is one of the many rescued lives saved through the commitment, professionalism, and compassion of security forces and humanitarian partners.
As we came, the Nigerian army received us, gave us good care, especially me that was pregnant, and I feel happy for their hospitality until we were reunited with our families. We appreciate and celebrate them.
For personnel on the front lines, duty extends beyond the battlefield. Counter-insurgency operations are not fought by arms alone. They are sustained through the rebuilding of trust, the restoration of hope, and the protection of vulnerable populations. Today, Maiduguri stands stronger, bearing the scars of conflict, yet strengthened by unity and resilience. The journey towards lasting peace continues. However, every liberated community, every restored local government, and every rescued life represents a victory of courage over fear.
I
left my family house since 2009, over 16 years. If not for the effort of the Nigerian army, we would not have been here today. In that case, we are the ones that should come out with our wives and children to celebrate them.
Beyond the visible gains on land, security in the northeast has also been strengthened along critical inland waterways, where the Nigerian Navy continues to play a decisive role in counter-insurgency operations. During the Christmas period, service chiefs visited troops deployed across the region, reaffirming national support for those holding the line. This commitment was further reinforced at the turn of the new year, when the Chief of the Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Idi Abbas, personally sailed these waterways to assess operations firsthand. In a powerful gesture of leadership and solidarity, He and senior officers served and shared meals with personnel in the field. A visit not only in recognition of their courage, endurance, and sacrifice, but also a clear charge from the nation's leadership to sustain the peace that has gradually returned to the Northeast.
Personally, I have not been sleeping, but having come here today and seen you people, I believe if I go back, I will sleep because I don't. So, we have seen what you people are doing, and I want to appreciate it and also extend the goodwill of a grateful nation to you all.
As the nation honors the men and women of the Nigerian Armed Forces, we recognize their courage, sacrifice, patriotism, and professionalism.
I salute their courage and sacrifice. May Almighty God bless them. Having been all the military armed forces are like them, won't be facing all such kind of challenges.
We remember the fallen heroes who paid the supreme price in defense of Nigeria's unity, sovereignty, and peace. Their selfless service reminds us that the peace and security enjoyed today were secured at a great cost. We also salute veterans and serving personnel who continue to protect the nation with unwavering dedication. As a nation, we must never forget their sacrifice. We remember them, we honor them, we salute them.
Indeed, we salute them. Again, we continue to salute them and we continue to applaud their efforts in ensuring that we can sleep at night. Now the conversation is about to begin. A gentleman, when you say an officer and a gentleman, that's what this officer represents, truly. And he walked in here looking so impeccable. He's the Director of Information of the Nigerian Navy. He's Commodore Adams Aliu. Let's see his profile.
Commodore Adams, it's an honor and a privilege to have you with us on Weekend Deal today.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Amazing. Let me say the most obvious thing, please. I saw you shaking our DG's hand. So you've been walking in here without even coming to mark present in the studio.
Well,
You've been to NTA before?
Yes. I mean, NTA is the most veritable voice of Nigerian media.
Thank you, sir.
So we always start from NTA.
Indeed. What an amazing thing to do. Good thing we're hearing it from the officer and the gentleman himself. We can also start another obvious thing. Every year for quite a while, in fact since 1970, we have been commemorating not just our fallen heroes, but the sacrifices that the armed forces is making constantly for the Nigerian people, protecting our territorial integrity and keeping us safe, whether we are awake or are sleeping. From that time, 1970 up till now, how has the celebration on January 15th changed, improved, impacted, and pushed us forward, would you say?
Okay, thank you very much. So I'll start with, let's trace the origin of Armed Forces Remembrance Day, now christened Armed Forces Celebration and Remembrance Day. 15th January 1970 was when the Instrument of Surrender was signed by Philip Effiong to mark the end of Nigerian Civil War, which kept Nigeria as one indivisible and united entity. But the history of this celebration still precedes that date. As far back as while the colonialists were still in Nigeria, 11 November was known as the Poppy Day. P-O-P-P-Y. Poppy Day was a day that veterans serving under British colonial military who fought in World War I and World War II were remembered. So this is the origin of remembering veterans post-conflict. And it remained so until Nigeria adopted 15 January, based on our own peculiar history. Now, going forward, the celebrations are made to honor first the fallen heroes of the Civil War. Then subsequently, we began to see Nigeria's participation in international missions. UNIFIL, Lebanon. In the 1980s, Nigerian Navy in particular participated in that operation.
Okay.
Coming down, ECOMOG was a major turning point for Nigeria, but more so for West Africa. Nigerian Navy was the most prominent sea lift platform for the entire West Africa. Then we had vessels like Nigerian Navy ship Ambe, Nigerian Navy ship Ophium, which lifted Nigerian troops from Lagos to Liberia to Sierra Leone, and also evacuated those people who were caught up in the conflict. It was a major operation. In the process, many of our personnel also paid the supreme sacrifice. Now we can come forward again. 2016, Operation Restore Democracy in the Gambia, when there was a political impasse at the end of President Yahya Jammeh's tenure. It was still the Nigerian Navy that sent a fleet comprising of an offshore patrol vessel and other supporting vessels as a show of force, what we call gumbo diplomacy, that eventually quelled that impasse. We come down again to the year 2022. It was also the Nigerian Navy that lifted, using Nigerian Navy ship Kada, one of the most modern logistic vessels in the world today, that lifted military equipment to Guinea-Bissau to support the contingent there as a stabilization force. More recently, since 2023, Nigeria as a country has been delisted from International Maritime Bureau piracy lists, meaning that between then and now, there has been no incident of piracy in Nigerian waters. Now,
For 2 years.
3 now.
Okay.
Yes. But the more important aspect is that when you look at the area, the sea area called the Gulf of Guinea, from Senegal down to Cote d'Ivoire, down to Benin, Togo, Nigeria, as far down as Angola, it is the Nigerian Navy that is actually the guardian of this sea area. And this takes a toll on the men and on the personnel. So the celebration of Armed Forces Remembrance Day is important, and it is something that must continue as a motivator for all that we do. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I mean, the Nigerian Army will say kudos. The Nigerian Navy, I say kudos to you. I mean, you just went to reinforce the fact that behind every uniform is a story of service and sacrifice.
Yes.
But let me ask you, what does service mean to a soldier? What does service truly mean to a soldier? What would you say is service?
Thank you for that question. To answer you directly, I'll give an example.
Okay.
Real life, real time, a little bit emotional, but it's good to put it out there.
Okay.
In July last year, 2025, MV Ambika, a civilian vessel, was distressed at sea off Bonny waters. Waters were rough, the vessel wasn't doing so good. There were about 50 persons on board who were endangered. So the Nigerian Navy in that locale, we have an operating base in that locality, Ford Operating Base Bonny. We sent out our men in our speedboats, fast attack boats, to rescue the 59 persons on board. That mission was led by a young officer, Lieutenant Commander Gideon Yashim Gwaza. It was successful.
Wow.
All 59 persons were rescued.
Oh, that's nice.
But Lieutenant Commander Gideon Yashim Gwaza lost his life in that process. He was the only casualty. That is service. Service is when, as a personnel, you know that I may go into this operation, I may succeed, but I may not return. So that is service.
Wow. Once again, Nigerians celebrate the Nigerian Armed Forces. Indeed, every day when you're working, W-O-R-K, working and walking, you are truly, truly keeping us poised to celebrate our great country because of your sacrifice day in, day out. I want to thank you immensely. And I know Nigeria thanks you as well. Okay, I was going to talk about the collaborative work that the Nigerian Armed Forces is doing, because you know the Nigerian Army, the Navy, and the Air Force are working together. But I've been told that this is a good time to visit Port Harcourt, where they have a package to enrich our discourse and further celebrate this unique and uncommon group of people whom we know as the Nigerian Armed Forces. As we touch base in Port Harcourt, we're looking at the Nigerian Navy and indeed maritime security on all fronts. Take us there. The Nigerian Navy stands as a formidable guardian of the nation's vast maritime domain, defending over 850 kilometers of coastline and securing the critical oil and gas infrastructure that lies within the Gulf of Guinea.
The Nigerian Navy remains committed to safeguarding critical maritime assets as a core component of its mission. Its objective is pursued through a coordinated strategy encompassing maritime surveillance, prompt response capabilities, and robust law enforcement.
Nigeria's maritime domain is vital to its economy, contributing more than 90% of the nation's export revenue. To secure this strategic space, the Navy continues to roll out targeted operations through intensified patrols and intelligence-driven missions. The most recent is Operation Delta Sentinel.
Round of applause.
I want to first and foremost acknowledge and appreciate the Chief of Naval Staff for finding me worthy to take this responsibility, and I equally want to assure him that I will not in any way disappoint him. I mean, Sentinel is basically Delta Guard. So we're going to be more present, and then we'll equally use technology, unmanned aerial vehicles, drones for short, but these are long-range drones. We'd equally use maritime domain awareness assets. Then we would equally deploy additional platforms. I mean, there are these 10 Manta boats, which would be deployed to go offshore. Because if we're going to increase number of, or the quantity of product that is produced, crude oil that is produced, it is from these marginal fields and then the OMLs. So the Navy is going to support them to ensure that they're able to maximize production.
These operations have successfully disrupted piracy networks and tackled crimes, including illegal oil bunkering, human trafficking, and maritime smuggling.
The mandate was to, as much as possible, stop these criminal activities because it was disturbing and disrupting our national economy and, of course, national security. Because like my brief showed that over 3.7 million liters of crude oil was denied crude oil thefts. Over 1.1 million liters of PMS was also denied these crude oil thefts. And the total figure was about 3.65 billion naira. Then this does also include the boats, the equipments that they use for this. And see, that's why we recorded the lowest ever volume of crude oil stolen in the country. That was from the NUPRC. So that shows the success of Operation Delta Sanity 2. And now, going forward, what have we discovered in our review? You need to work smarter. You need to involve use of technology better. You need to synergize better with other agencies. That's why it's okay, let's move on to Data Sentinel to ensure that we improve on the successes of Data Sanity 2.
Beyond security, these efforts have safeguarded national revenue by protecting oil exports and ensuring uninterrupted port operations.
Look at the crude oil production now today. It's going up. If we don't stop crude oil theft, we will not achieve the potentials, 2.5 million barrels per day. So the Navy is at the center of the fight against crude oil theft and other illegalities. But we are taking the responsibility as a mandate to ensure that we stop these illegalities. One, to improve our income. Two, it will improve the reputation of Nigeria. So it's very important that we continue to fight on this. But we know that it's not only the Nigerian Navy who can do it. We must collaborate with other agencies, other partners, and other host communities to ensure that this is achieved.
Nigeria is exporting more oil now than it used to be. So we commend them and we're asking them to do much more. Oil is what government sells and uses it for development in the country. So we should support the Navy to continue with their good work of securing the oil installations.
The sea may be vast and the challenges relentless, yet through courage, strategy, and unwavering resolve, the Nigerian Navy continues to defend our waters, protect our people, and secure our future.
Nice.
Oh, thank God. Still bad. Hey! Now they bust our brain, I beg. Now they bust our brain. That was beautiful. Woo! Amazing. That was beautiful. I don't even know how to describe that. That was amazing. Commander Alaya, you've done it again. You and your team, amazing work. We're dancing all through. But my guests did not really dance. So I'm wondering, do you like music, Commodore Adams? Do you love music?
Yes, I love music. And Nigerian Navy Steel Band is the best in Africa.
They are.
Yeah.
They are. Honestly, they are. That was beautiful.
I don't want to take us away from the topic of
Yes, I agree, but once in a while, smile small, waiting.
You don't have to even tap your leg a little bit.
You didn't even move. You were just sitting.
Huh? Or perhaps you hear this so often that you've gotten so attuned to great music and presentation.
Not really. We appreciate our music department. They do a fantastic job. The origins of this band come from the Caribbean.
Oh,
yes, but
okay.
I don't want to take us away from the topic.
Okay,
of the
good.
day.
Thank you. Okay, yes. I would ask a question. You know, before we went to Port Harcourt and before the music, you talked about an amazing sacrifice by the officer Gwaza, Gideon Gwaza. But I would ask a question: how do you honor such a sacrifice as a body? How do you honor such a commitment to work? So that young officers who have seen it will not hold back and say, I'm not going there. How do you honor such a legacy?
Okay, thank you, Patience. So let me start from specific. So specifically, late Lieutenant Commander Gideon Yashim Gwaza was promoted posthumously to the rank of commander.
Amazing.
Just recently, yesterday or 2 days ago, he was given the Distinguished Fallen Heroes Award by the Defense Headquarters.
Oh, right there. He's right there.
Yeah,
oh, amazing. Amazing. What a great man.
And a lot more. But let's remind ourselves that there's nothing you can do to pay for life.
No.
So I think that answers your question.
That answers my question. Yeah.
Okay, good one.
Thank you so much.
Just before we also went on the break, okay, let me talk about what we just heard. You know, I'm hardly surprised that some of their top-notch performances today have gone nationwide. First of all, they went far. They've been to Edo State, where they taught base with Sir Victor Waifo of blessed memory. And then we saw something from Davido's table as well. And I'm sure with this performance, everyone also agrees that the Grammy indeed is coming home to Nigeria very soon, with With You, a collabo by Omale and Davido. But meanwhile, let's come back to our focus. The armed forces is a collaborative effort, and as you come in, you do understand that from the get-go. We know over the years, they have been able to bridge so many gaps and make Nigerians proud, like we always say, and safe. Tell us about a few of the collaborative efforts and what it takes to work in unison to bring peace and stability to Nigeria.
So, thank you, Thelma. So, let me lay a premise. The current Chief of the Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Lydia Abbas, Admiralty Medal, he was appointed 24 October 2025, and he assumed command of the Nigerian Navy on 30th October 2025. Shortly after his assumption of command, he itemized his vision for the Nigerian Navy, which is to have a mobile, agile, and professional naval force dedicated to securing Nigeria's maritime interests and advancing national security objectives in synergy with other security agencies. Now, that second part is the premise for the answer to your question. Advancing national security objectives in synergy with other security agencies. We want to do a chronological order. Bonny Landing, 1967, Nigeria Civil War. It was the army that was lifted by the Navy. to land in Bonny and secure the blockade of Biafra. So Biafra could not expand to that flank. So you see, the army are the boots on ground. We provided sea lifts, and at some point we provided what we call gunfire support from the shore. So while the army is doing their thing effectively, we are at the shore providing that blockade, you know. So also the ECOMOG operation I spoke about earlier, it was the Nigerian army that went into Liberia and Sierra Leone and ensured that the crisis came to an end. United Nations came much later. What did the Navy do? We also provided sea lift and gunfire support. So essentially, in military operations, we have what is known as the supported commander and the supporting commander. More often than not, the Nigerian Navy and the Nigerian Air Force are supporting commanders to the Nigerian Army, who are the boots on ground. Let's bring it home now. Reality today. Most pertinent issue in the minds of most of us Nigerians is the war against terror.
Yeah. So
you look at the northeast of Nigeria, particularly Borno State, capital Maiduguri. In Maiduguri, we have the headquarters of what is known as the Theater Command. That Theater Command is led by a Major General. He's an army officer. But under the Major General in the theater, we have three components: land component, maritime component, and air component. The land components are on their feet all the time, 24 hours a day, in all the nook and crannies of the theater. The air components provide air support. I'm sure you have heard a lot of media reports of airstrikes taking out terrorists. Now, the maritime component, the clip that was shown, January 1, my chief of the naval staff was in Baga in Lake Chad. In Lake Chad, the Nigerian Navy has a base, naval base Lake Chad, fully functional to ensure, you know, the Lake Chad is a triangle. You have Niger Republic, you have Chad Republic, you have Nigeria. So the Nigerian end of the Lake Chad is secured by the Navy. We have a commander there, Commodore Peter Gambo Yume. The CNS went there 1st of January. The CNS went on a naval boat and we sailed the Lake Chad. In recent years, that was not possible because of the nefarious elements in that area who are cross-border terrorists. They are not domiciled in Nigeria. They pass through the lake. So, you see, I've been able to show you that Army, Navy, Air Force, we actually work together in synergy. And that is the vision of the Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Lydia Abbas, to advance national security objective in synergy with other security agencies. Permit me to mention Department of State Services and every other security agency, including civil defense, are all involved in this. Yeah, so the synergy in Nigerian military and security forces right now, I think, is at its best ever level.
Wow.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so whether we like it or not, the synergy is very important, and we must continue that synergy. Nigeria is a democratic nation. Now, how do we build more trust between the military and the civilian so that there'll be better understanding?
Okay, thank you. So what you're talking about is, some people call it civil-military relations, CMR. Other people call it civil-military cooperation, CIMIC. The first understanding is that every military man in Nigeria, whether Army, Navy, or Air Force, is first a Nigerian. Is first a civilian. None of us were born military. So there's no dichotomy. So the dichotomy.
Why do you call us bloody civilians? If that be the case, why do you call us bloody civilians?
So we were all born civilians. So military training just makes you focus on a job, which has national responsibility.
Indeed.
Some people may propagate tribal or parochial narratives, but the military man only thinks of national objectives.
Nation first.
Yes.
Nation first.
Mm-hmm. So how do we bridge that gap? There are so many initiatives in place. Okay. I know the Air Force have their initiative, I know the Army have their initiative, but I'll talk about the Nigerian Navy initiative on civil-military relation and civil-military cooperation. Sometime last year, the Nigerian Navy instituted what we call Chief of the Naval Staff Quick Impact Project. Now, Chief of the Naval Staff Special Intervention Quick Impact Project is aimed towards bringing quick intervention to far-flung communities in the most basic ways. I give you so many examples. We've been to Zaria, where healthcare was provided, a primary healthcare center. We've been down south to Bayelsa, where several boreholes were provided, in Gombe, in Bauchi, in so many areas. The CNS Quick Impact Project is actually touching lives.
It's activated and actionable. Let's hold our thoughts there. Thank you so much, Commander. I know that for you guys to work assiduously, undeterred, unrelentingly, is because oftentimes you pay attention to your fitness and your diet. You must eat right to stay healthy and to stay formidable and to discharge your duties responsibly. And that's how we want to talk more about food and nutrition. We have a sister. Okay.
Pretty Ene, what happened to the ABBA? You just said Ene. Thank you so much. We've learned a lot from your look at what we should eat and what we shouldn't eat. Now, let me take some messages. Okay. Somebody said, tell us, okay, there's a name here. We must intentionally develop a loving attitude in appreciating these men and women risking and sacrificing their all in protecting us all. Thank you, and thank you to the Nigerian Navy and the entire Nigerian military. Great love by Weekend Deal. Cecilia. Thank you, Cecilia. Thank you so much. And we love you too. I sincerely love your program on Weekend Deal. Last week, Uma and Godwin made me happy, and I am really impressed. Well done to them all. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You didn't tell us your name, so we can't alert you with your name. Well, this is quite long, quite really long, but he's praying for the Nigerian military, and he said that God will protect the Nigerian military, their families, and their loved one. He said he appreciates what the Nigerian military is doing, and God Almighty will continue to protect the Nigerian military. It's Olusegun Ijebu Ibefon. God bless you, sir. God bless you, sir. Okay, some say, I don't know. This one says, why I say I don't know, you understand. It says, hello, honey. So I'm wondering, why did he start with that? But he says he loves the show and he's happy with what the Nigerian military is doing, and that God Almighty should continue to protect our men and women of the Nigerian Armed Forces. Okay, patience. Now, wow. Okay. We don't edit our messages. Our show is organic. You read them as they come. So when I like music like that, Sabi dance, Sha. I love your outfit. So fitting and beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All for you all. Then final one is a hi, Weekend Deal. Kai, you are simply the best. Thank you so much. And you're the best too for always joining our show. Thank you very much. Thelma, let's continue our conversation.
Okay, the conversation continues now with Kaduna. And guess what? It's about Wings of Valor. NTA Kaduna, please walk right in and take center stage.
Trust me, I forgot.
In the vast Nigerian sky where courage meets commitment, a silent force watches over the nation, from counterinsurgency operations to life-saving humanitarian missions. The Nigerian Air Force stands as a shield in the sky. This is Wings of Valor, celebrating the guardians of the nation. Over the years, the Nigerian Air Force has embraced cutting-edge technology to strengthen national security, from modern fighter jets and surveillance aircraft to unmanned aerial vehicles and advanced radar systems. Kaduna, a major hub of air power, reflects this transformation where training, maintenance, and innovation converge to keep the nation safe.
The Nigerian Air Force has been supportive of the ground forces. You see, it's a venture that very supportive, but the accuracy should be assured doubly. Otherwise, you just go up and shoot nothing. Watch out. You lost the money, you cost, and the aim is not achieved. But as far as the operation of the Nigerian Air Force is concerned, in this insecurity theater of war, has been very supportive and encouraging. But there's nothing as human beings that you will do, however technologically fitted are your planes or whatever they are, or crafts. It's still the human beings that will operate them to take off and even to touch the buttons that maybe the computer or whatever we call them, the technological something, will get the command to work. But overall, I think we'll say 80% in the Nigerian Air Force, has done well. But, like I said, mishaps and then lack of, logistics itself. Because when these ammunitions are fired, when they go finish, you have to go looking for them again. Before they come for the turnaround operation, you will find that there's always a lull, a gap in time to give maybe the bandits or the bad people chance to get themselves, recollect again, and so on and so forth.
Across the nation, stories abound of communities reclaimed, lives saved, and peace gradually restored. From the northeast to the northwest and beyond, the impact of NAF operations is evident. Behind every successful mission are brave men and women in uniform, pilots, engineers, technicians, and support staff remain united by one purpose: to protect Nigeria and her citizens.
I want to remind them, they showed interest. Nobody went there to conscript them and force them to enter. And once you sign for it, we commend you. You are nationalistic, you are proud of your country, and the job, like you said, is to protect the integrity, properties, and the lives of the human beings inside the country, and so on and so forth. So we commend them for that. But in doing that, it does not mean you go overboard. Instead of becoming helpers, you now become a sort of part of the problem.
As Nigeria continues her journey towards peace and stability, the Nigerian Air Force remains vigilant in the sky, in strength, in service, and in sacrifice. They are truly the wings of our nation's valor.
The wings of our nation's valor. That's beautiful. Because of them, we know that when it comes to the airspace, we are protected. Commodore Adams.
Yes. We are back.
We are back to our conversation, and we'll continue to look at the Nigerian military as a defender of what we are, who we are, sovereignty in Nigeria. Do you think that the average civilian understands the service of the military men and women in Nigeria? Do you think that civilians know more or are carried along as far as what you represent is concerned?
Well, I think the average civilian does understand. I think they do. But we are here today
Yes.
So we can maybe do some form of, do I call it teaching or explanation? All right, so for every sovereign nation, we have what is called elements of national power and then instruments of national power. Elements of national power refer to geography, natural resources, topography, things you can exploit to make your nation powerful. Oil is an example, and so many other things. Now, instruments of national power, on the other hand, refer to what projects a nation in the Committee of Nations, in the international space. Basically, they are grouped into four: diplomatic, information, military, and economic. We have seen what happened recently in the Western Hemisphere between the United States and Venezuela. That's power projection using American military. Okay, so we'll bring it home to Nigeria. Nigerian military is the most virile instrument of Nigeria's power projection. So, and I can still narrow it a little for understanding. Looking at the West African and Central African coasts, Senegal, Gambia, down to Angola, is a maritime space, large maritime space. What happens within that area? For you to control that space, you must have the capability to be present at sea. Within this space, I can confidently say it's only Nigerian Navy that has the capability not only to be present at sea, but to remain at sea. And I give you another example. Just last year, the Nigerian Navy signed a memorandum of agreement with African Union to provide sea lift for African Union forces within the entire African maritime space. As far as I know, it is only the Nigerian Navy that has such an agreement with African Union, meaning that when African Union needs to move in a big way, the Nigerian Navy will move the African Union. So that is a projection of national power.
Good one. Good one.
So it must be appreciated. Maybe we did not know, but now we know.
Good one.
And it's an example.
We are well equipped, information-wise, and being the giant of Africa, it comes with enormous responsibilities. So we carry our own well. We don't dull on our responsibility. I was going to talk about women and veterans. I know when I was younger, I tried for the army 3 times. You see where they locked the door, me.
You did.
The 3rd time, the fill was FEIL, not FAIL again. I generally carried my bag and ran home. But that will be another conversation, perhaps when we return, if there's time. For now, Tijani Yahaya, our producer, is making his grand entrance with his package, and he's focused on the global peacekeeper. Tijani, are you ready?
At Independent.
And our brothers all who sacrifice the pillars of our nation were these. And our songs lay down to show that one nation. Here, I'm when you answer your grace command. Your voice, your songs of glory and unity. Your voice, let it rise in your heart. Variation on our shores, the field with battles rage strong. Rise with levels to the will have been charade. I hear songs of victory and unity. Dear Lord, let it rain in your heart. The nation for you. Here we stand. Sun to this, like the battlefield, you forever be in our hearts. And the wounded soldiers, we pray for recovery. Swallow to the retired, but not tired. May God keep on keeping you. Hesitate to try, and a ship to sail, and a plane. All we need. Dear folks, dear songs of victory and unity. Yeah, the nation. Nigeria's
Amazing, amazing. That was quite emotional and that was beautiful. Joseph Olalekon, that was wonderfully, and today we just celebrate all the men and women, all the brave men and women of the Nigerian Armed Forces who left their homes and never returned. It is time for Sports Summit.
At the end of 120 minutes and there were no goals, my confidence grew in leaps and bounds. I was confident that penalties would give us a place in the final of the ongoing African Nations Cup. Hey, it was not to be. You saw how it all happened, and Morocco will be playing Senegal in tomorrow's final, and Nigeria today will be taking on Egypt in the losers' final, fighting for a bronze. On this edition of the show, we're talking to someone who was right there at the stadium and he saw it all. My name is Godwin A. Nakana, Sports Summit on Weekend Deal.
What makes a true leader in the game? Is it being the first to start? For over a decade, one name has always led in front. That name is Bet Naija. Bet Builder, Bet Freeze, One-Up, Bet Boom. Not just features. With unbeatable odds on over 300,000 live matches, you're playing to win. Just another reason why Bet Naija is truly Nigeria's #1.
Welcome back. Calvin Onwuka came all the way from England to see the Super Eagles in Morocco. He's waiting to talk to us. Calvin, good morning to you. How is the cold in Morocco, and have you recovered from the defeat in the hands of the Moroccans?
Good morning, Godwin. Thank you for having me to speak to me this morning from Casablanca in Morocco. Yes, I've recovered, and also I have nothing but admiration and pride for how these boys conducted themselves on the pitch. I was very proud of the performance they put up. As an experienced campaigner that I have become, yeah, I've recovered and I'm fine.
Please talk us through what you think about the referee from Ghana.
I think the Moroccans played a good one in the way they put pressure on CAF to choose a totally incompetent fellow like Laria to handle that match, and he did the job that he was sent to do. He was an absolutely atrocious referee, but I wasn't shocked again, to be fair. If anybody was going to do the bidding of Morocco, it was going to be an incompetent person like this who would want to continue being promoted by the powers inside CAF. The referee played a part in ensuring that the Super Eagles could not play their usual flowing game.
Kevin, very apt right there. But now let's talk about today's game. Nigeria against Egypt for the third place game. That's the bronze medal, as it were. What do you think about our players? And think we can pull it off?
We never come forth at an AFCON tournament. And I would hate for these boys to be the first set to come forth. So I'm hoping the technical crew will be able to psych them up. And even the NFF, somebody needs to let these boys know we've never lost a third place match, so that they don't become the first team to do that. So yeah, it'll be dreadful for us to, after the wonderful performance of the team in this tournament, to end up with fourth place playing against an abject Egypt team. I hope they are motivated enough to get the third place position and bronze medal, which is what we normally get at AFCON tournaments.
Wow, interesting to know, Kevin. Thank you so very much for being part of the show Sports Summit on Weekend Deal.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Godwin. It was a pleasure, and it's been a pleasure watching this Super Eagles performance here in Morocco.
Builder, Bet Freeze, One Up, Bet Boom. Bet Nigeria is truly number one.
Kevin, once again, thank you so very much, all the way from Casablanca. Nigeria against Egypt, third place, and that game is 5 p.m. Nigerian time. Tomorrow is the big one, Senegal against host Morocco. Thank you for watching Sports Summit on Weekend Deal. Keep praying for Nigeria. My name is Godwin Inakana. God bless Nigeria.